California, the cost of sunshine. California is known for its sun, beaches, and tech giants, but the price tag for a family to live here is astronomical. The average rent in San Francisco, over $3,000 a month for a one-bedroom. Want to buy a home? Be ready to drop over $700,000. This isn't just about the rent, though. It's the taxes, utilities, and costs for even basic services. California has some of the highest income taxes in the nation, and the cost of living has skyrocketed in recent years. Historically, it was the land of opportunity for families seeking the perfect work-life balance. But today, that dream seems like a distant memory. As tech giants dominate, housing prices have surged. For families, that means fewer options, more stress, and longer work hours just to keep up. With more people moving away from the high-cost cities, it's clear California may no longer be the affordable dream state it once was. New York, Big Apple, bigger bills. New York is iconic, but for families, living here can feel like paying for a VIP pass to the toughest reality show. New York City alone has one of the highest costs of living in the world. If you're renting in the city, expect to pay a jaw-dropping average of $2,800 for a one-bedroom apartment in a mediocre neighborhood. But it's not just NYC. Even the suburbs, like Long Island and Westchester, have seen skyrocketing property prices with taxes to match. The state was historically known for its big dreams, big markets, and big opportunities, but in today's world, those come with a hefty price. With state taxes at some of the highest rates in the country and an ever-increasing demand for housing, families are being priced out, struggling to stay afloat. It's no longer about just the hustle. It's about making sure you can afford to keep hustling. Can you afford the Big Apple, or is it too big a bite to chew? Hawaii. Paradise comes with a price. Hawaii's paradise, no doubt, but it doesn't come cheap. With its stunning beaches, volcanoes, and tropical climate, it's easy to see why so many families dream of raising kids there. But let's be honest, the cost of living in Hawaii can make that dream feel more like a nightmare. Average home prices can exceed $700,000, and that's just for a modest house. Rent isn't much better, averaging around $2,500 a month for a decent spot. How did this come to be? Over the years, tourism and limited land space have driven up both housing costs and demand. For families, this means either struggling with high rent or making serious sacrifices just to live in this idyllic place. The cost of groceries alone, nearly double the national average, makes you think twice before hitting the beach. Paradise might be calling, but it's going to cost you. Massachusetts. Old money meets new debt. Massachusetts may seem like a beautiful historical state with its old architecture and ivy-covered universities, but for families, the costs here are pushing many to the edge. In places like Boston, rent averages $2,700 for a basic apartment, and home prices are consistently over $500,000. Massachusetts also holds the unfortunate honor of having some of the highest property taxes in the country. Add in health insurance costs, which are higher than most states due to the high number of quality healthcare institutions, and you have a state that's beautiful but brutal on the wallet. What makes it especially hard for families is the state's push for excellence in education, which means private school tuition and high costs for after-school programs. You'd think that with all the education and tech hubs, things would be more affordable, but instead, it's the opposite, making the cost of raising a family here feel like an endless uphill battle. Maryland, the silent, expensive state. Maryland isn't loud about its costs, but make no mistake, it's expensive. With proximity to Washington, D.C., a high demand for housing, and expensive schools, families find it hard to live without going deep into their pockets. The average rent for a decent apartment in the suburbs around D.C. hovers around $2,300, while homes cost upwards of $500,000. The state also has one of the highest median incomes in the nation, so it's no surprise the cost of living is just as high. Over time, high demand in housing and premium schools have made the state a hotspot for affluent families, driving up costs even further. If you're not earning big bucks, expect to struggle to make ends meet. Maryland's great for those at the top of the food chain, but a nightmare for those just starting out. Connecticut, a rich history, a hefty price tag. Connecticut may be known for its rich history and charming towns, but if you're raising a family here, you're in for a reality check. The state's high property taxes, combined with expensive schools and general living costs, make it one of the priciest in the U.S. In Fairfield County, the average cost for a home is around $500,000, with taxes eating into your paycheck. Connecticut's economy is driven by insurance and finance, but that hasn't helped everyday families keep up. Public services, healthcare, and transportation costs keep rising, while wage growth stays relatively stagnant. What's more, the state's schools are ranked among the best, but for most, those come with a price tag too, whether in taxes or in the form of private school tuition. Connecticut is a land of old money, but it might be pushing the new families out of reach. New Jersey, high taxes, higher costs. New Jersey's not just about the Jersey Shore. It's also about paying some of the highest property taxes in the U.S. The average rent for an apartment in the Garden State, around $2,400. And that's for a place that's probably not even near the coast. Real estate in areas like Hoboken, Montclair, or Princeton is even pricier. And with property taxes around 2.2%, it's no surprise families are feeling the crunch. Why? New Jersey's a hotspot for commuters who want to be close to New York City, which pushes both housing costs and demand up. And it's not just housing. The state has an expensive cost of living that touches almost every corner of life, from groceries to health insurance. For families, this means having to be financially savvy just to get by. High taxes, high housing costs, it's a 1-2 punch for any family on a budget. Alaska. Wild landscape, wild costs. Alaska may be the last frontier, but raising a family here means facing some seriously high costs. The cost of living is high, especially considering how remote many of Alaska's communities are. On average, families pay $2,000 a month for a 2-bedroom apartment, and the price of groceries can be almost twice what you'd pay in other states. What makes it particularly expensive? The cost of transporting goods to the remote regions is astronomical. Add in the fact that there are few big box stores, and you'll often find yourself paying for convenience. The state's sparse population and limited infrastructure drive up costs even more. Despite its wild beauty and adventurous appeal, Alaska's financial reality can leave families asking, is this really worth it? Washington. Tech-savvy and pricey. Washington State is home to Seattle, one of the biggest tech hubs in the world, and with that tech comes high costs. The average rent for a modest apartment in Seattle is $2,500, with the median home price hovering just under $800,000. Why is it so expensive? Simple. Tech money. Amazon, Microsoft, and a host of other tech giants have created an environment that's rich in jobs, but also rich in costs. With salaries climbing, so do housing prices. But the real kicker? Washington has no state income tax, which sounds great on paper, but the property taxes, sales taxes, and other fees make up for it. Families are caught between high-paying jobs and the ever-rising costs of everyday life. Virginia, where quality meets expense. Virginia might surprise you. With its beautiful landscapes, great schools, and proximity to Washington, D.C., it's a prime place for families. But those benefits come with a hefty price. Housing costs in areas near D.C. like Arlington and Alexandria are sky-high, with the average home price surpassing $600,000. While the state boasts a high quality of life, the cost of that lifestyle is steep. Virginia's schools are excellent, but you'll pay for those too, whether in taxes or higher living costs. Virginia's charm lies in its mix of history, nature, and modernity. But for families, balancing that charm with the costs of living can be tough. For those wanting the best of both worlds, they might just find the price tag hard to swallow. Colorado. Mountains aren't the only thing rising. Colorado is an adventurer's dream, but for families, those beautiful Rocky Mountains come with some serious financial climbing. Rent in cities like Denver or Boulder averages $2,200 a month for a small apartment, and home prices are on the rise, nearing $500,000 for a modest place. Why? The state's become a tech and startup hotspot, bringing in high-paying jobs but pushing up living costs for everyone else. The lifestyle is attractive, with outdoor activities and great schools, but families are feeling the squeeze. Groceries, healthcare, and even local services are all more expensive than in many other states. The cost of living here is high, and it doesn't look like it's going to drop anytime soon. Oregon, the cost of a beautiful life. Oregon, with its lush forests, hip cities, and scenic beauty, seems like the perfect place to settle down. But beneath the picturesque landscapes lies a costly reality. Rent in Portland averages about $2,100, and home prices are pushing over $450,000. While Oregon doesn't have a sales tax, it makes up for it with high property taxes and income taxes. The demand for housing has outpaced supply, and it's driven up costs, making it harder for families to afford the lifestyle they dream of. The state's beauty and culture are undeniable, but those things come at a price, and it's not one every family can afford. The dream of a beautiful life in Oregon might just be more expensive than you think.